The Morning Star drops out of FTL and Captain Davis stares at the void where New Haven should be. No life signs, no signals, just a world erased. Cities under glass domes are now burned ground. Oceans turned bloody red. A final transmission crackles through. They did not try to talk. They just started destroying everything. The Morning Star emerges from faster-than-light travel exactly on schedule, its long-range sensors already probing the space around New Haven. Captain Davis stands at the main viewer, expecting the usual traffic control handshake and colony status update. Instead, his screen shows empty space where the planetary defense grid should be broadcasting its identification signal. The sensor officer runs a full-spectrum scan. He reports 0 energy readings from the planet's surface. No power grids, no reactor signatures, no communication traffic. The thermal scan shows ambient radiation levels only. Every scientific and military sensor on the ship confirms the same reading. Complete absence of human technological activity. Visual enhancement reveals the colony's condition. The transparent domes that housed New Haven's cities appear as fractured crystal scattered across the landscape. Where blue oceans once sustained marine colonies, infrared shows only deep crimson bodies of water with uniform high-temperature readings. The planetary surface shows patterns consistent with orbital bombardment, with concentric circles of carbonized material radiating from population centers. The communications officer detects a fragment of automated transmission on an emergency backup frequency. It's the colony's last broadcast, stored in a hardened server that survived the initial attacks. The voice of Administrator Wilson fills the bridge, his words tight with controlled panic as he describes triangular vessels of unknown configuration firing energy weapons that bypass their shields. Wilson's transmission details how the alien ships methodically eliminated infrastructure while ignoring all attempts at communication. His voice rises as he reports primary power failing across the northern hemisphere. The recording cuts to static mid-sentence when he begins describing the weapon's effect on biological material. This moment represents humanity's first confirmed contact with intelligent extraterrestrial life. There were no diplomatic overtures, no demands, no communication of any kind. Only systematic destruction executed with precision that suggests prior reconnaissance and planning. The bridge crew processes the implications. 2 million colonists, scientists, engineers, and families established New Haven as humanity's most advanced extrasolar settlement. They represented 17 national space programs and 3 private consortiums. Every person on that world is now confirmed lost with no possibility of survivors. Captain Davis orders a complete sensor recording of the entire system. The Morning Star collects atmospheric particulate samples, residual radiation signatures, and any debris that might indicate the attacker's technology. The science team confirms biological matter in the upper atmosphere, matches human DNA profiles from the colony. Registry navigation plots the fastest possible course back to Earth. The ship's engines cycle up for the return jump as the crew prepares a comprehensive briefing package. They carry not just news of a tragedy, but evidence of an existential threat to human civilization. The voyage home will give them time to analyze the limited data, but already one fact is clear. Someone out there has both the capability and the willingness to erase humanity from the galaxy. The emergency transmission from the Morning Star reaches Earth Command at 03:47 Greenwich Mean Time. The data packet contains sensor logs, visual records, and the final broadcast from New Haven. Duty officers immediately activate priority protocols, waking Secretary General Williams and the full Unified Earth Council. Council members assemble in the underground Situation Room beneath Geneva. They view the footage from multiple angles on the main display. The images show planetary devastation on a scale humanity has never witnessed. Dome fragments scattered across continents, oceans colored deep crimson from unknown contaminants, and thermal scans showing no surviving power sources. Arguments break out immediately across the conference table. The military representatives demand immediate retaliation. They propose sending every available warship to track the attackers, arguing that hesitation would show weakness. Their position relies on human determination, overcoming technological disadvantage through sheer force of will. The scientific delegation advocates caution. They point to the complete absence of defensive effectiveness shown in the records. New Haven possessed state-of-the-art planetary shields and orbital defenses that failed without slowing the attack. They recommend fortifying Earth and gathering intelligence before any military response. Diplomatic members suggest attempting communication first. They argue the attack might represent a misunderstanding or isolated incident. Their position faces immediate opposition when others replay the segment where Administrator Wilson describes repeated attempts to establish contact being ignored. The debate exposes humanity's complete lack of preparation for hostile first contact. Existing protocols assumed peaceful interaction or gradual escalation. No contingency existed for immediate total annihilation without communication. Fleet dispersion across colony systems leaves Earth with limited defensive capability. Secretary General Williams watches the arguments escalate for 12 minutes. Council members raise voices, citing historical precedents that no longer apply. The military faction references ancient battles where determination overcame odds. Scientists counter with examples of technological disparities determining outcomes. Williams stands and delivers a single word at volume that cuts through the noise. Quiet. The room falls silent instantly. All eyes turn to the main display showing the final image from New Haven. A child's drawing recovered from the wreckage, showing blue skies and green fields. The Secretary General gestures toward the image. 2 million people are dead because we weren't prepared. Arguing about responses based on outdated assumptions won't prevent the next attack. He states they need assessment, not speculation, before deciding their course. The Council agrees unanimously to request strategic analysis from military command. They need to understand what they're facing before committing to any action. The scale of loss demands more than emotional reactions. It requires calculated response based on actual capability assessment. An aide summons Admiral Thompson from the Orbital Defense Command Center. The Admiral has supervised analysis of all available data since the transmission arrived. Thompson enters carrying a data slate containing preliminary findings from the wreckage analysis and tactical assessment. Admiral Thompson enters the council chamber without ceremony. He connects his data slate to the main display. The screen shows fragments of alien wreckage recovered from New Haven's orbit. The analysis appears in crisp scientific notation alongside human equivalents for comparison. The material composition reveals the first shock. The alien hull fragments consist of layered metamaterials, with molecular structures never before synthesized. Their density measures 1/3 that of titanium, while demonstrating tensile strength exceeding any known alloy. The crystalline matrix shows self-repair capabilities at the atomic level when exposed to radiation. Weapon system analysis proves more disturbing. Energy signatures recovered from the debris field indicate directed gravity manipulation. The aliens appear to create localized space-time distortions that bypass conventional shielding. Our scientists confirm the principles involve higher dimensional physics that human researchers only theoretical understand. The weapons don't burn or blast. They simply make things cease to exist within their effect field. Propulsion technology represents the largest gap. Residual drive signatures suggest faster-than-light travel without the energy expenditure human ships require. Their engines leave spatial distortions indicating they manipulate gravity wells for propulsion, rather than fighting against them. The efficiency calculations show they could cross interstellar distances in days where human ships require weeks. Thompson explains this isn't merely superior technology. It's fundamentally different science. Human weapons development follows predictable improvement curves. Better materials, more efficient reactors, improved targeting. The alien technology operates on principles we haven't discovered yet. They aren't just ahead on the same path. They're following a completely different map. The Admiral presents comparative analysis timelines. Human scientists estimate 2 centuries of research would be needed to understand the physics involved. Another century might yield practical applications. This assumes the aliens meanwhile make no further advancements of their own. Current military strength becomes irrelevant in this assessment. Every ship in Earth's fleet would be outranged, outmaneuvered, and incapable of damaging alien vessels. Defense strategies relying on planetary shields would fail against weapons that distort space-time itself. The technological disparity is absolute and comprehensive. Council members grasp the implications. This isn't a war of attrition or strategy. It's potentially a contest between civilization and extinction. Previous discussions about retaliation or defense assume capabilities humanity simply doesn't possess. The aliens could arrive at Earth with minimal warning and achieve complete orbital dominance within hours. The strategic picture forces complete reassessment. Traditional military response would be not just ineffective, but wasteful of limited resources. Every ship sent against the aliens would be destroyed without achieving meaningful damage. Planetary defense would collapse against weapons that ignore conventional protection. Thompson concludes with the only viable assessment. Humanity cannot fight this enemy with current technology. Either we find another way or we accept eventual defeat. The Council must consider options beyond standard military engagement. Survival requires approaches that don't depend on matching technology we cannot yet comprehend. The room remains silent as the display shows the analysis summary. Red lines indicate alien capabilities far outside human measurement scales. The gap isn't something willpower or courage can overcome. It's a fundamental limitation of current human scientific understanding. This realization changes everything about how humanity must respond. Admiral Thompson returns to the display screen. He erases the previous technical comparisons and replaces them with a single number, 500,000 warships. The Council members process this figure in silence. Current fleet strength stands at 800 combat-ready vessels across all human systems. The number represents more than 600 times the existing force. He breaks down the production timeline. 18 months means 912 ships must launch every single day. Current shipyard capacity across Earth, Mars, and the orbital facilities can produce maybe 50 ships per day under maximum emergency conditions. That represents less than 6% of the required output. The material requirements become the next obstacle. Each warship requires thousands of tons of refined metals, composites, and reactor materials. 500,000 ships would consume more material than humanity has mined in the past century. Asteroid belt mining operations would need to expand their output by a factor of 300 just to meet demand. Personnel training presents another impossibility. Each ship requires a minimum crew of 30 trained operators. That means 15 million crew members need training in warship operations. Current training facilities can process maybe 100,000 personnel per year. They would need to increase training capacity by a factor of 150. Infrastructure limitations appear insurmountable. Existing shipyards lack the docking space, construction frames, and assembly lines for this scale of production. Each facility would require complete redesign and expansion. Orbital construction platforms would need to be built from scratch in high orbit around Earth and Mars. Thompson acknowledges these numbers seem impossible. He explains this represents the only viable strategic response to the technological disparity. Human ships cannot match alien technology individually. The only advantage available is overwhelming numerical superiority. 500,000 ships might achieve local concentration of force that could overcome individual technological advantages. The alternative becomes clear through simple projection models. If the aliens decide to attack Earth next, current defenses would last approximately 6 hours based on New Haven's experience. Even with full mobilization of existing fleet assets, humanity lacks the capacity to defend multiple colony worlds simultaneously. Passive defense means accepting eventual defeat. Council members begin calculating resource allocation. They discuss converting civilian industries to military production. Automotive plants could manufacture hull sections. Aerospace facilities could produce weapon components. Commercial spaceliner construction could be redirected to warship frames. The economic impact would be catastrophic under normal circumstances. Entire industries would cease producing consumer goods. Global economies would shift to resource-based production planning. Currency systems might become irrelevant when allocating raw materials takes priority over financial markets. Thompson states the reality clearly. Either humanity commits to this production schedule, or accepts that the next attack will likely end human civilization. There are no intermediate options. Partial measures would simply delay the inevitable, while consuming resources that could contribute to the full mobilization. The vote proceeds without further debate. Every council member activates their approval indicator. The measure passes with unanimous support. Emergency protocols immediately take effect across all human systems. Earth and its colonies now operate under total war mobilization statutes. Every aspect of civilization will be directed toward warship production. Secretary General Williams authorizes the activation of wartime economic controls. Civilian governments retain administrative functions, but military production requirements now override all other considerations. The directive goes out to all colony governors and planetary administrators. Humanity has chosen its response to extinction-level threat. The mobilization order activates across all human systems simultaneously. Emergency protocols override civilian governance structures. Every industrial facility receives immediate conversion orders. Production lines that manufactured consumer goods now retool for military components. Automotive plants cease vehicle production and begin fabricating hull sections. Their precision robotics adapt to cutting and forming warship armor plating. Workers receive crash courses in military specifications and quality control standards. Production targets appear on every factory floor display, counting down to daily quotas. Orbital rings around Earth transform into construction platforms. Construction crews work in continuous shifts, welding new dry dock facilities to the existing structures. The rings become concentric circles of manufacturing activity, with raw materials arriving from below and partially completed ships moving along assembly lines. Asteroid mining operations intensify immediately. Mining vessels triple their work cycles, operating around the clock without maintenance breaks. Processing facilities melt down entire asteroids, separating metals and minerals for shipment to orbital foundries. Convoy routes established between the belt and Earth orbit, with freighters running constant supply lines. Education systems undergo complete restructuring. Teachers with technical backgrounds receive military training assignments. Classrooms become simulation centers where students learn basic starship operations. Mathematics curricula focus on navigation calculations and weapons targeting solutions. Physical education shifts to emergency procedure drills and damage control training. Cities transform into production centers that never sleep. Streetlights remain on throughout the night shifts. Public transportation runs continuously to move workers between facilities. Residential areas near factories install sound dampening as machinery operates 24 hours daily. Power grids redirect electricity from commercial districts to industrial zones. Economic systems abandon monetary-based planning. Resource allocation boards form in every sector, prioritizing materials for warship construction. Transportation networks optimize for moving raw materials rather than commercial goods. Labor assignments follow skill assessments rather than employment markets. Currency becomes irrelevant when survival depends on production output. The transition creates massive logistical challenges. Supply chains strain under unprecedented demand for specialized components. Engineers work constantly to overcome bottlenecks in production processes. Quality control standards adapt to prioritize quantity while maintaining minimum combat effectiveness. Humanity accepts that traditional economic measures no longer apply. Production capacity becomes the only metric that matters. Personal comfort and convenience become secondary considerations. The entire species focuses on a single objective, with individual needs subordinate to collective survival. The transformation completes within weeks. Civilian life ceases to exist in its previous form. Every capable person contributes to the war effort through direct production or support roles. Society functions as a coordinated mechanism with singular purpose. The scale of mobilization exceeds any historical precedent. World wars of the past involved partial economic conversion. This represents complete reorientation of human civilization. No aspect of daily life remains untouched by the production requirements. Coordination between colonies becomes seamless through emergency communication protocols. Martian factories synchronize production with lunar facilities. Asteroid miners coordinate extraction with orbital refineries. The entire human population across multiple planetary bodies functions as a single production entity. The resolution becomes apparent through production reports. Daily output increases exponentially as systems optimize. What seemed impossible becomes achievable through total commitment. Humanity demonstrates that when survival is at stake, production capacity can be expanded beyond theoretical limits. The species now operates as a unified war machine, with every resource and every person dedicated to the single objective of building 500,000 warships. Luna's orbital rings activate their emergency protocols, transforming the Moon into humanity's primary warship production facility. The massive structures that once served as transportation hubs and research stations now pulse with industrial activity. Construction bays that normally handled maintenance and upgrades now face the impossible demand of building entire fleets from raw materials. The shipyards immediately confront their capacity limitations. Existing dry docks can accommodate only 50 ships simultaneously under optimal conditions. The production schedule requires 10 times that number in various construction phases. Engineers work around the clock redesigning the entire manufacturing process from first principles. They abandon traditional sequential construction methods that proved too time-consuming. Modular construction techniques become the solution. Design teams break warships into standardized sections that can be built in parallel. Hull segments, engine assemblies, and weapon platforms manufacture separately before final integration. This approach allows hundreds of components to progress simultaneously, rather than waiting for previous stages to complete. Robotic assemblers operate continuously in the vacuum environment. Automated welders and fabricators work without atmospheric constraints, their precision unaffected by temperature fluctuations. The lack of atmosphere allows larger structures to be assembled without size limitations imposed by pressurization requirements. Machines work in shifts that human crews could never sustain, operating 24 hours daily without breaks. Material transport becomes a constant flow between planets. Processed metals from Martian refineries arrive in regular convoys. Asteroid belt mining operations send refined minerals directly to lunar orbit. Storage facilities expand across the lunar surface to handle the incoming resources. The supply chain operates with military precision, ensuring no production line experiences material shortages. The first hulls take shape through parallel construction methods. Instead of building ships one at a time, workers assemble components across multiple facilities. Framework structures emerge simultaneously in dozens of construction bays. Progress accelerates as teams specialize in specific assembly processes, their efficiency increasing with repetition. Quality control standards adapt to the production urgency. Inspectors focus on critical systems while accepting minor imperfections in non-essential areas. The priority becomes operational capability rather than perfection. Engineers design redundancy into systems to compensate for potential manufacturing variances. The acceptable defect rate increases to maintain production velocity. The shipyards achieve their first major milestone within weeks. 1,000 completed warships float in lunar orbit, their hulls gleaming in the sunlight. This achievement represents 20 days of maximum output, exceeding initial projections. The production rate continues, accelerating as processes optimize and workers gain experience. The flow of new warships becomes a continuous stream from Luna. Finished. Vessels move out of construction bays every few minutes, making space for new frames. Tugboats guide them to orbital holding patterns where crews await assignment. The lunar facilities now operate like a massive assembly line stretching across space. Production teams work in 3 shifts that overlap for continuity. Each shift handover includes detailed status reports and problem identification. Engineers constantly refine processes to eliminate bottlenecks. The initial chaos of full mobilization gives way to organized, efficient production rhythms. The lunar shipyards demonstrate humanity's capacity for unprecedented industrial output. What began as an impossible demand becomes achievable through complete reimagining of manufacturing principles. The moon transforms from scientific outpost to the heart of human military production, its silent surface now dotted with the lights of continuous industrial activity. 500,000 ships require coordination beyond any military structure humanity has ever created. The sheer scale of the fleet makes traditional command systems impractical. Light-speed communication delays would create fatal gaps in tactical response times across interstellar distances. A command from Earth would take minutes or hours to reach frontline vessels, making real-time combat coordination impossible. Engineers deploy quantum entanglement communication networks across the entire fleet. Each warship receives a quantum communication array during final assembly. The system creates paired particles that maintain instant connection regardless of distance. Information transfer occurs faster than light speed. Because it doesn't travel through space, it simply appears simultaneously at both endpoints. The quantum network allows real-time data sharing across any distance. Sensor readings from one ship become immediately available to every other vessel. Targeting solutions calculated by one fire control officer can be utilized by thousands of weapons platforms simultaneously. Navigation data updates propagate through the fleet without delay. Every ship becomes a sensor node in a massive distributed network. Their combined scanning capability creates a comprehensive picture of the battle space. The network processes information from 500,000 viewpoints simultaneously. This creates situational awareness far beyond what any single ship or command center could achieve. Tactical updates propagate through the fleet at quantum speeds. Enemy movements detected by forward scouts become instantly known to all vessels. Weapons fire adjustments based on new targeting data update across the entire weapons grid. Damage assessments and system status reports flow continuously to all command nodes. The network enables swarm intelligence across vast distances. Ships can coordinate maneuvers with precision that appears choreographed. They can concentrate firepower on targets with timing measured in microseconds. Evasive patterns can be executed simultaneously across entire formations. Command structure adapts to the new capabilities. Instead of hierarchical decision-making, the fleet operates on distributed command protocols. Ship captains receive tactical autonomy within overall mission parameters. The quantum network ensures all vessels share the same operational picture and objectives. The system creates what commanders call a unified combat consciousness. Individual ships maintain their separate functions but operate as part of a greater whole. The fleet behaves like a single organism with 500,000 coordinated components. This collective capability represents humanity's answer to the alien technological advantage. Training focuses on operating within this network environment. Crews learn to trust the shared data and make decisions based on fleet-wide awareness. They practice responding to tactical situations where information arrives faster than human reaction times. The system requires both human judgment and automated response integration. The quantum network becomes operational as ships roll off production lines. Each new vessel joins the growing web of interconnected systems. The network's capability increases with every ship added to the fleet. By the time 500,000 ships are active, the coordination system represents the most sophisticated military command structure ever created. This solution addresses the fundamental weakness of numerical superiority without coordination. 500,000 ships acting independently would achieve little against technologically superior enemies. 500,000 ships acting as a single coordinated force becomes a different proposition entirely. The quantum network transforms quantity into qualitative advantage. The system undergoes continuous testing and refinement during production. Engineers optimize data compression algorithms to handle the massive information flow. Security protocols ensure the network cannot be compromised or hijacked. Redundant systems protect against single points of failure. Humanity now possesses a fleet that can fight as one entity across interstellar distances. The technological gap remains, but the coordination advantage becomes a counterbalance. 500,000 ships sharing one consciousness represent a new form of military power. This network becomes the foundation for all future combat operations against the alien threat. Recovery teams approach the ruins of New Haven with extreme caution. Their specialized vessels scan for radiation and unstable wreckage before attempting retrieval. They recover fragments of alien technology from the orbital debris field and planetary surface. Each piece gets tagged and transported to secure research facilities orbiting Mars. The devices operate on principles that defy human understanding. Scientists cannot determine power sources or control mechanisms. The technology shows no recognizable circuitry or energy conduits. Materials appear seamless without joints or access points. Attempts to analyze internal structures reveal only uniform molecular patterns throughout. Materials scientists make the first breakthrough. The alien hull fragments consist of layered metamaterials with programmed atomic structures. The alloy demonstrates strength exceeding any human material, while weighing 1/3 as much as titanium. It shows self-organizing properties when exposed to energy fields, repairing minor damage without external intervention. Weapons researchers analyze energy patterns recovered from battle records. The alien weapons don't fire projectiles or energy beams. They create localized space-time distortions that bypass conventional shielding. The effect resembles folding space around targets rather than attacking them directly. Human shield technology proves useless against weapons that don't interact with matter in known ways. Propulsion experts study the drive signatures. The aliens manipulate gravity fields for both propulsion and maneuvering. Their ships don't push against space, they alter the fabric of space-time itself. The technology allows instantaneous course changes without inertia effects. Efficiency calculations show they expend minimal energy for massive thrust output. The breakthroughs come too slowly for immediate deployment. Each discovery requires complete reassessment of physical laws. Scientists work in shifts around the clock analyzing the alien technology. Progress measures in small increments rather than major leaps. The research timeline extends beyond the production schedule. Each discovery forces complete retooling of production lines. New materials require different fabrication techniques. Weapon systems need entirely new manufacturing processes. Propulsion technology demands radical redesign of ship frames and power systems. The continuous changes slow overall production rates. Engineers face impossible choices between innovation and output. They must decide whether to implement partial improvements or wait for complete understanding. The production schedule allows limited time for integration of new technologies. Most advances remain theoretical rather than practical. The resolution comes through focused application. Researchers concentrate on one weapons technology that shows immediate potential. The exotic matter disruptors demonstrate ability to affect alien shielding. Human engineers develop a simplified version that can be mass-produced. The first human ships with alien-derived technology roll out from Luna's shipyards. They incorporate metamaterial hull plating that offers improved protection. Their weapons include basic spatial distortion projectors based on reverse-engineered principles. The systems lack refinement but provide measurable combat advantages. Integration proves challenging for crews. The new systems operate differently from human technology. Training simulators update to include alien-derived systems. Crews learn to manage weapons that manipulate physics rather than deliver explosive force. The technological gap begins narrowing through practical application. Each new ship class incorporates more advanced systems. Production lines adapt to handle hybrid human-alien technology. The fleet evolves from pure numerical superiority to gradually improving technological capability. This progress comes at the cost of production speed. The continuous retooling and retraining reduces overall output. Command accepts this trade-off as necessary for combat effectiveness. Ships with partial alien technology prove more valuable than greater numbers of obsolete designs. The research continues alongside production. Scientists keep analyzing alien technology, while engineers implement what they understand. This parallel effort ensures continuous improvement throughout the fleet construction period. Each new discovery gets incorporated into subsequent production batches. Training facilities across Earth and its colonies operate at maximum capacity. Civilians from all backgrounds report for military training. The requirement exceeds 15 million crew members with only months to train them. Existing military training centers can process only a fraction of this number under normal conditions. Crews must master systems that didn't exist a year earlier. The warships incorporate hybrid human-alien technology with unfamiliar operating principles. Control interfaces combine standard human designs with alien-derived systems that function differently. Trainees learn to operate weapons that manipulate physics rather than deliver kinetic impact. Training simulations run continuously across all colony worlds. Virtual reality pods operate 24 hours daily with overlapping shifts. Each simulator replicates the exact layout and systems of the new warships. Trainees practice emergency procedures, combat maneuvers, and system failures in accelerated programs. Veteran officers mentor new commanders through intensive crash courses. Experienced captains teach tactical decision-making to former civilians. They emphasize the distributed command protocol enabled by quantum networking. New officers learn to operate with tactical autonomy while maintaining fleet coordination. The distributed command system requires completely new tactical thinking. Crews train to make decisions based on shared fleet awareness, rather than isolated information. They practice responding to situations where data arrives faster than human reaction times. The training focuses on instinctive responses under extreme pressure. Crews train until they can operate ships through muscle memory. They run drills until emergency procedures become automatic. Simulation scenarios increase in difficulty as proficiency improves. The training pushes human limits to achieve combat readiness within the compressed timeline. The training casualty rate becomes alarmingly high. Simulator accidents claim lives when systems malfunction, or trainees make critical errors. Stress-induced medical incidents occur frequently among personnel pushed beyond normal endurance limits. Command accepts these losses as necessary for achieving combat readiness. Medical facilities near training centers operate at capacity. They treat exhaustion, psychological stress, and training injuries continuously. Counselors work with personnel experiencing breakdowns from the intense pressure. The military maintains the training schedule despite the human cost. The first battle groups achieve combat readiness ahead of schedule. Initial projections suggested 18 months for full training. Intensive programs complete basic training in 12 months. Advanced tactical training continues during the final outfitting phase. Humanity now possesses crews who can fight technology they don't fully understand. The training emphasizes practical operation over theoretical knowledge. Crews learn what commands to input rather than why systems work that way. This approach sacrifices deep understanding for operational capability. The training outcome creates a new type of military force. Crews operate with instinctive coordination through the quantum network. They respond to threats with speed that compensates for technological disadvantage. The human element becomes the variable that might offset alien technological superiority. Assessment teams evaluate crew readiness through continuous testing. They measure response times, decision accuracy, and system operation proficiency. The results show acceptable combat readiness despite the compressed training timeline. The crews may not understand the technology, but they can operate it effectively. This achievement completes the transformation of human civilization, from peaceful expansion to total war footing in under 2 years. The combination of massive production and rapid training creates a military force unlike any in human history. The stage is set for the first real test against the alien threat. Commander Lisa Harper monitors the sensor displays on her bridge. The Kepler-186 system lies quiet except for routine traffic. Her task force of 200 ships patrols the system's outer edge. Long-range sensors detect anomalous energy readings at the boundary of detection range. The contacts appear suddenly without approach signatures. The sensor officer confirms multiple unidentified vessels. They match the profile recovered from New Haven's wreckage analysis. Triangular configurations with unusual energy signatures. The alien ships move with coordinated precision that suggests advanced automation. Their formation shows no wasted movement or defensive positioning. The alien vessels demonstrate gravity manipulation capabilities immediately. Their weapons create spatial distortions that affect human ships at extreme range. Harper's crew reports structural stress alerts across multiple vessels. Hull integrity warnings flash as gravitational forces twist metal frameworks. The attacks bypass conventional shielding completely. Harper orders the fleet to engage under quantum link pattern alpha. The network activates across all ships. Tactical data shares instantaneously between vessels. Weapon systems synchronize targeting solutions. Navigation plots coordinated evasion patterns. The fleet responds as a single entity through the quantum connection. The exotic matter disruptors prove effective against alien defenses. Human weapons fire creates localized space-time disturbances that interfere with alien shielding. The alien ships show visible reaction to the impacts. Their flawless formation experiences momentary disruption. The technological advantage proves not absolute against human-modified weapons. Human ships employ swarm tactics to overcome individual technological superiority. They concentrate fire on single targets from multiple angles. The quantum network allows perfect timing of attack runs. Alien vessels face simultaneous weapons fire from different vectors. Their point defenses cannot track all incoming threats. The aliens respond with increased aggression. Their weapons intensify gravitational effects. Human ships experience extreme structural stress. Several vessels report hull breaches from the twisting forces. Damage control teams work to contain atmosphere losses. The combat becomes a test of endurance between different advantages. Harper maintains disciplined formation despite losses. The quantum network allows real-time adaptation to alien tactics. Ships share shield modulation patterns that partially mitigate gravitational effects. Engineering teams transfer successful countermeasures across the fleet. Collective learning occurs faster than individual adaptation. The engagement continues for 37 minutes. Both sides test each other's capabilities and limitations. Human ships demonstrate they can absorb losses and maintain combat effectiveness. The alien force shows frustration through increasingly aggressive maneuvers. Their previous encounters likely involved quickly broken resistance. The resolution comes when the alien ships break contact. They withdraw in precise formation without damaged vessels left behind. Their departure shows the same efficiency as their attack. Harper's forces hold their position rather than pursuing. Damage assessment begins immediately across the human fleet. This encounter proves humanity can stand against the alien technology. The combination of numerical superiority, quantum coordination, and reverse-engineered weapons creates a viable defense. The aliens learn that humanity responds differently than previous species they eliminated. This first contact establishes that human civilization will not break easily. The battle stretches across 6 hours of continuous engagement. Both sides test each other's capabilities through escalating tactics. The alien forces demonstrate their technological superiority with relentless precision. Human formations face gravitational attacks that threaten to collapse their structural integrity. Ship after ship reports hull stress approaching critical levels. Alien gravity weapons create localized space-time distortions that bypass conventional defenses. Human vessels experience twisting forces that metal frameworks cannot long withstand. Several ships suffer catastrophic structural failure when gravitational stresses exceed material limitations. Their hulls fold inward like crumpled paper under immense pressure. Human numbers provide the crucial advantage that allows endurance. Losses that would cripple conventional fleets become absorbable through sheer quantity. When one ship falls, others immediately fill its position in the formation. The quantum network redistributes tactical responsibilities seamlessly across remaining vessels. Command functions transfer automatically to backup ships without interruption. Quantum coordination enables real-time tactical adaptation across the entire fleet. Ships share targeting data the instant sensors detect alien vulnerabilities. Shield modulation patterns that prove partially effective propagate through the network immediately. Engineering solutions developed on one ship become available to all vessels simultaneously. The exotic matter disruptors gradually achieve measurable effects against alien defenses. Human weapons fire creates spatial interference patterns that disrupt alien shielding. Several alien ships show visible damage from concentrated disruptor fire. Their flawless formation begins showing gaps as vessels take defensive actions. Both sides suffer significant losses in the brutal exchange. Human casualty counts rise steadily as gravitational weapons find their marks. Alien ships also take damage from the relentless disruptor attacks. The technological gap narrows through human persistence and numerical advantage. The battle becomes a war of attrition rather than technological supremacy. The quantum network functions as a distributed combat consciousness. Damage assessment and repair priorities coordinate across the entire fleet. Medical teams receive advance warning of incoming wounded based on battle projections. Engineering crews prepare repair resources before damaged ships even arrive. After 6 hours of continuous combat, the alien forces break engagement. They withdraw in their characteristic precise formation, leaving no wreckage behind. Their departure appears calculated rather than routed. The human fleet holds its position, maintaining defensive formation during withdrawal. Approximately 40% of the original human force remains combat effective. The surviving ships show various damage levels from minor to severe. Casualty reports indicate significant losses among crew members. Medical facilities across the fleet operate at maximum capacity treating wounded personnel. The battle proves human forces can endure against technologically superior opponents. The combination of numerical advantage, quantum coordination, and persistent engagement creates a viable defense strategy. The aliens learn that human resilience differs fundamentally from previous species they encountered. This engagement provides valuable tactical data for future confrontations. Analysis of alien combat patterns reveals potential vulnerabilities. The effectiveness of quantum coordination against their technology becomes clearly demonstrated. Human commanders gain confidence that their strategy can work despite technological disadvantage. The surviving ships begin recovery operations while maintaining defensive readiness. Damage assessment teams evaluate each vessel's combat capability. Repair crews work to restore critical systems on damaged ships. The fleet prepares for possible renewed engagement while analyzing the battle's lessons. Long-range reconnaissance probes slip deeper into what intelligence designates as alien-controlled space. Their stealth systems operate at maximum efficiency, designed to avoid detection while gathering critical data. The probes transmit their findings through burst communications that minimize exposure risk. The information returns to Earth Command in encrypted data packets that analysts process immediately. The initial alien scouting force at Kepler 186 represented merely an advance element. Sensor data reveals thousands of additional vessels gathering in the Vega system. The numbers exceed any concentration of human ships ever assembled. Current fleet strength appears insignificant compared to the massing alien armada. The alien fleet formation centers around a massive structure near Vega's fourth planet. The object measures approximately 3,000 kilometers in diameter, making it moon-sized. Its configuration shows multiple docking ports and weapon emplacements. Energy readings suggest it serves as both command center and manufacturing facility. The alien vessels organize around this central station with military precision. Their formations show layered defensive patterns that would challenge any assault. The sheer number of ships creates a defensive screen that appears impenetrable. Their positioning suggests preparation for a major offensive operation. Intelligence analysts project the alien objective with high confidence. The massing of forces indicates intent to eliminate human civilization completely. Previous encounters showed no attempt at communication or negotiation. The pattern matches their approach at New Haven. Total destruction without warning. Defensive strategy would guarantee eventual defeat. Human forces would need to protect multiple colony worlds simultaneously. The alien fleet could strike anywhere along the frontier with overwhelming force. Stationary defenses would be bypassed or overwhelmed through numerical superiority. Admiral Thompson presents the strategic assessment to the Earth Council.
He explains that waiting for the alien attack would play to their advantages.
Human forces would be scattered across defensive positions. The alien fleet could attack concentration points at their choosing. The proposal involves abandoning defensive preparations entirely. Instead of protecting human space, the fleet would launch a preemptive strike at Vega. This approach uses humanity's numerical advantage, while the alien forces remain gathered. It represents the only strategy that might achieve local superiority. The operational plan requires committing the entire fleet to a single engagement. 500,000 ships would jump simultaneously to the Vega system. Their objective would be to destroy the command station and engage the gathered forces. Success depends on achieving surprise and maintaining numerical advantage. Human intelligence suggests the aliens don't expect an offensive move. Their previous experiences with other species involve defensive responses. This cultural assumption might create vulnerability in their preparations. Their forces may not be positioned for immediate combat readiness. The Council approves the operation with minimal debate. The alternative involves waiting for an attack that would likely end human civilization. The preemptive strike represents the only chance to take the initiative. All available forces will prepare for immediate deployment to Vega. Training shifts to offensive operations against fortified positions. Crews practice assault patterns against simulated alien defenses. The quantum network coordinates complex attack maneuvers across the entire fleet. Every ship prepares for the largest military engagement in human history. The decision transforms strategic thinking completely. Humanity moves from reaction to action, from defense to offense. The entire species commits to a single massive strike that will determine their future. The fate of human civilization now depends on taking the fight directly to the enemy.